The pilot is dying. You have maybe 4 minutes. His F-16 went down 30 minutes ago. Engine failure over hostile territory. He ejected at 400 knots and broke both legs on landing. Now he's lying in a ravine, surrounded by people who want to capture him alive and post the video online. You're descending through clouds at 200 miles per hour, strapped to a parachute you'll cut away at 3,000 feet. Your medical kit weighs 80 pounds. Your rifle weighs another 10. You haven't slept in 36 hours. Below you, the gunfire is already starting. The rescue helicopter is taking fire from multiple positions. The door gunners are returning it. Tracers arc across the valley like angry fireflies. Somewhere in that chaos is a man who was drinking coffee in a ready room 12 hours ago, laughing with his buddies, complaining about the weather. Now he's bleeding out in the dirt, listening to the sound of people hunting him. You hit the ground running, literally. Your boots touch earth, and you're already moving toward the smoke, toward the screaming, toward the man who needs you more than he's ever needed anyone in his life. You covered 200 meters in under a minute. Uneven terrain, rocks, scrub brush, your kit bouncing on your back. You find him behind a rock. He's conscious, barely. His flight suit is soaked with blood. His legs are bent wrong. The bones are visible through the fabric. His eyes are the eyes of a man who thinks he's about to die. I got you, sir. I got you. You work while bullets snap overhead. The rock provides cover, but not much. A round kicks up dirt 3 feet from your knee. Tourniquet on the right leg. The left is worse, but it's not arterial. You can deal with that later. IV access. His veins are collapsed from blood loss. You go for the external jugular. Got it. Morphine. Not too much. You need him conscious enough to help. Quick splint on both legs. Improvised, not pretty, but functional. The whole process takes 3 minutes. It feels like 3 hours. We're moving. This is going to hurt. You drag him toward the helicopter. 400 pounds of pilot and gear. Uphill, under fire. Your legs are screaming. Your lungs are burning. You don't stop. The crew chief sees you coming. He's out of the bird, running towards you, grabbing the pilot's harness. You push from below. He pulls from above. The pilot screams as his legs hit the deck. He's in. You're the last one on the bird. Rounds pinging off the fuselage as you lift off. The door gunner is still firing. The engine is straining. Then you're clear. Climbing. The gunfire fading behind you. 22 hours later, that pilot will call his wife from a hospital bed in Germany. He'll cry. She'll cry. He'll tell her about the man who came down through the clouds. The man who dragged him to safety while bullets flew. They'll both be alive because you exist. You won't be there for that call. You'll be asleep on a cot somewhere, resting before the next one. You'll never hear his voice again. This is the job. Most special operations forces exist to kill people. That's not a judgment, it's a fact. Delta Force kicks down doors and eliminates targets. SEALs conduct direct action raids. Marine Raiders assault enemy positions. They're the sword. PJs are different. Pararescue. Air Force Special Operations. The guys with the maroon berets. Their entire existence is about one thing. Saving lives. The motto is that others may live. It's not a slogan someone came up with for a recruitment poster. It's a job description. It's a promise. It's the reason the unit exists. Every PJ is a special operator. Full combat capability, weapons, tactics, parachuting, diving, all of it. But the mission is different. The mission is rescue. When a pilot goes down behind enemy lines, PJs go get him. When an operator takes a round and needs trauma surgery in a mud hut, PJs provide it. When the helicopter crashes and everyone is injured and the enemy is closing in, PJs figure out how to get everyone home. That's the job. That's the only job. Who becomes a PJ? Not the guys who want to be famous. There are no movies about PJs, no book deals. No one knows your name. It's the guys who see someone drowning and jump in without thinking. The MTs who wanted to do more than drive to hospitals. The lifeguards who got bored with pools and wanted oceans. People who can't stand the idea of someone dying when they could do something about it. You see a documentary, maybe a recruitment video on YouTube, maybe a Reddit thread where someone asks about special operations career paths. Pararescue, combat search and rescue, Air Force Special Operations. They jump out of planes. They dive to the ocean floor. They shoot back when shot at. But the mission is saving people. The more you read, the more it feels like home. Like you finally found the thing you were supposed to do. You call a recruiter. He tells you the truth. 2-year training pipeline, the longest in the US military. Longer than SEALs, longer than Delta. 80% washout rate, maybe higher. Most people who try don't make it. Physically the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. Mentally even harder. You tell your family. They don't understand. 2 years of training for the Air Force. You tell your friends. They think you're crazy. 80% washout rate? Why would anyone do that? You can't explain it. The pull, the need to be the one who helps, the inability to stand by while someone needs saving. You sign up anyway. Pararescue indoctrination course, 9 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base. The filter, they're not trying to train you. Not yet. They're trying to break you. They're trying to find out who quits and who doesn't. They don't want the strongest. They want the unbreakable. Week 1, the shock, 5 a.m. wake up, 10 p.m. collapse, every minute between is pain. Running, miles and miles and miles, in boots, in sand, in heat that makes the air shimmer. Swimming, not laps in a pool, ocean swims. Timed, if you fall behind, you do it again. Calisthenics, push-ups until your arms give out. Then more push-ups. Carrying boats over your head, not metaphorically. Actual boats, inflatable boats, that weigh hundreds of pounds. You and 7 other guys running down a beach holding a boat above your heads. Instructors screaming. Sand in everything. In your eyes, in your mouth, in places sand shouldn't be able to reach. Guys quit on day 2. Day 3. Every day someone walks up to the bell and rings it. That sound means they're done. They're out. They're going back to regular Air Force. No one stops them. No one argues. They just disappear. The pool is where most people break. They call it water confidence training. It's controlled drowning. That's not a metaphor. You're in the deep end. Instructors come up behind you. They flip you upside down. They pull off your mask. They tie your hands. You have to solve problems while your lungs scream for air. Fix your mask. Untangle yourself. Surface properly. Panic and you're done. Not just failed. Done. Some guys black out. The safety divers pull them up. They wake up coughing on the pool deck. Most of them walk straight to the bell. Extended training days. 20 hours, sometimes longer. You run 6 miles, swim 2 miles, carry a 200-pound log as a team. Every evolution is timed. Fall behind and you're rolled. That means you repeat the week, or you're removed. 4 hours of sleep, if you're lucky. If the instructors decide you've earned it, buddy breathing, 1 mask, 2 people, 20 feet underwater. You and a stranger share air while instructors harass you. Take turns breathing. Pass the regulator back and forth. Trust is built here. You literally breathe for each other. His air becomes your air, becomes his air. If he panics, you both might drown. If you panic, same thing. You learn to trust, to stay calm, to share. The attrition is staggering. You started with 100 candidates. By the end of Indoc, you're down to 15, maybe 10. The guys who quit aren't weak. Some were Division I athletes. Some were combat veterans from other branches. Some were the fittest people you've ever met. They just weren't PJs. You survived. You made it through. But this was only phase 1. Now the real training begins. The indoctrination was just the entrance exam. Now you actually learn how to do the job. Combat Dive School, 10 weeks in Panama City, Florida. You arrive knowing how to swim. You leave knowing how to operate underwater in ways most people can't imagine. Open circuit scuba. The basics. Bubbles rising to the surface. Then closed circuit rebreathers. No bubbles. No signature. No one knows you're there. Underwater navigation. Find a target in 0 visibility using only a compass and a kick count. Swim a mile underwater and arrive within feet of where you're supposed to be. Drown proofing. Your hands are tied behind your back. Your feet are tied together. They throw you in the deep end. Survive. Bob to the surface. Get air. Sink back down. Repeat. For minutes that feel like hours. Pull competencies that make Indoc look easy. Problems to solve. Equipment to fix. All while your lungs burn. Army Airborne School. 3 weeks at Fort Benning. You learn to jump out of planes. Static line jumps. 1,250 feet. The parachute opens automatically. 5 jumps minimum. You earn your wings. This is the easy one. Almost a vacation compared to what came before. Regular Army soldiers everywhere, struggling with things you mastered months ago. You help them. The guys who are scared of heights. The guys who freeze in the door. You don't brag. You just help. That's starting to become who you are. The jump itself is pure joy. The rush of the wind. The snap of the canopy opening. The quiet drift to earth. For a few minutes, all the pain of training disappears. You're just flying. Military freefall school, 5 weeks. Now you jump for real. Halo. High altitude, low opening. Exit at 25,000 feet. Open your chute at 3,000. Hey ha. High altitude, high opening. Exit at 25,000 feet. Open immediately. Glide for miles. Freefall for 2 minutes through thin air that freezes your face. Oxygen mask required because there's not enough air to breathe. Navigate to a drop zone miles from where you exited. Land softly enough to fight immediately. Surrey School, 3 weeks. The darkest part of training. Survival. Evasion. Resistance. Escape. The first phase is survival. They drop you in the wilderness with nothing. A knife maybe. The clothes on your back. You learn to find water. Build shelter. Make fire. Catch food. The skills that keep you alive when everything else has failed. Then the evasion phase. They hunt you. Tracker teams looking for your trail. Dogs sometimes. Helicopters. You move at night. Hide during the day. Cover your tracks. Avoid contact. Eventually they catch you. Everyone gets caught. That's the point. The resistance phase is the hardest. Simulated interrogation, stress positions that make your muscles scream, sleep deprivation that makes you hallucinate. They can't actually hurt you. Not permanently, but they can make it feel real. They can break you mentally if you let them. You learn to resist, to give nothing, to hold on when everything in you wants to give up. You learn that everyone breaks eventually. The goal isn't to never break. The goal is to break slowly, to give nothing important, to buy time, because PJs get captured sometimes, behind enemy lines, alone, far from help. When that happens, you need to know how to survive until rescue comes, or until you can rescue yourself. Paramedic training, 6 months. National Registry Paramedic Certification, the same certification civilian paramedics have, but more. Trauma medicine, surgical airways, chest tubes, blood transfusions in the field. You can do things in a mud hut, in the dark, under fire, that most doctors need an emergency room for. You train on live tissue. Pigs, goats, animals that are already being euthanized. You practice surgical procedures on them because that's what you'll face in the field. It sounds brutal. It is brutal. But the alternative is practicing on humans for the first time when someone's life is on the line. You learn to make surgical airways, to cut into a trachea and insert a tube so someone can breathe. You learn to decompress a tension pneumothorax, to stick a needle into someone's chest to release the air that's crushing their lung. You learn to perform thoracotomies, to crack open a chest in the field because the heart has stopped and it's the only chance. Most paramedics will never do these procedures. You'll do them in the dark, under fire, with no backup and no second chances. The training is intense, emotionally draining. Some days you question why you're doing this. Then you imagine the pilot bleeding out in a ravine, the soldier trapped under a vehicle, the operator with shrapnel in his chest. You're doing this for them, for the people you haven't met yet, the lives you haven't saved yet. PJ Apprentice Course, 6 months at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico. Everything comes together here. Tactical combat casualty care. How to treat trauma while people are shooting at you. Weapons and small unit tactics. You're a special operator, not just a medic. Mountain rescue, rock climbing, rappelling, high angle extraction, water rescue, swift water, open ocean. Anything involving water and someone who needs help. Urban rescue, collapsed buildings, confined spaces. The final evaluation is a week-long exercise where everything goes wrong. Casualties, complications, chaos. You handle all of it. The graduation is quiet, no parade, no speeches, no crowds, a small room, your class, the instructors, a few senior PJs who came to welcome the new ones. They hand you a maroon beret, the symbol of the PJ community, the thing you've been working toward for 2 years. You put it on. It feels heavier than it should, because you know what it represents. You know the history. You know the names carved on memorials. 2 years, 24 months, from 100 candidates to 8 graduates. You're one of roughly 500 active duty PJs in existence. 500 people on the entire planet who can do what you do. Think about that, 500. In a military of over 1 million. In a country of 330 million. You are rare, you are elite. You are the last hope for people having the worst moment of their lives. The senior PJ who pinned your beret looks you in the eye. Now you prove you deserve it. No celebration, no victory lap. You ship out to your first unit next week, the elite of the elite. And you haven't even saved anyone yet. That starts now. You're assigned to a rescue squadron, embedded with Special Operations Forces. Your team includes other PJs, combat rescue officers, helicopter crews trained specifically for this mission. You train with everyone, Night Stalkers, Delta, SEALs, the units that don't officially exist. They're the door kickers, the trigger pullers, the sharp end of the spear. You're the guy who puts them back together when the door kicks back. You're on every major operation, not to kill, to save. When they plan a raid, you're in the briefing. When they execute, you're on the helicopter. When someone goes down, you're the first one there. Your loadout is different from everyone else's. Rifle, pistol, night vision, body armor, standard operator kit, plus an 80-pound medical ruck. Blood products that need to stay cold. Surgical tools that need to stay sterile. Drugs that need to stay organized. You're a fighter, and a trauma surgeon, and a mountaineer, and a diver. All at once. All the time. No one else carries what you carry. No one else can do what you do. The respect is real. Operators don't trust easily. They've seen too much, been burned too many times. They trust PJs because they've seen PJs work. Under fire. On the worst day of someone's life. Hands steady, voice calm. Getting it done while the world falls apart. When a shooter goes down, he's not calling for another shooter. He's calling for you. You see it in their faces when you arrive. Relief. Hope. The moment they realize someone is there who can help. That's the best part of the job. That moment. The shift from despair to hope. The realization that maybe they're going to make it. After all, you live for that moment, but you also know that not every story ends well. Some wounds are too much. Some situations are impossible. You do your best, and sometimes your best isn't enough. The experienced PJs warn you. The losses will come. The faces you can't save will haunt you. You think you understand, you don't. Not yet. The call comes at midnight. Alarm. A patrol hit an IED 3 hours ago. 2 urgent surgical patients. Medevac can't make it in time. Too far, too dangerous. The landing zone is hot. You're going. The helicopter screams across the desert. 10 minutes to target. You prep your kit. Check your supplies. Visualize the scene. You've done this together dozens of times. No words needed. The scene is chaos. A vehicle on fire. Bodies around it. Soldiers taking cover behind rocks. Still returning fire. 2 soldiers alive. Barely. One has shrapnel in his abdomen. The blast threw fragments through his body armor. He's bleeding internally. You can see his belly distending. One has lost a leg below the knee. Tourniquet already applied by a guy with no training, just instinct. That guy saved his buddy's life before you even got there. You don't think, you act. 2 years of training taking over. Primary survey, airway, breathing, circulation. The abdominal wound needs surgery you can't do in a dirt field. You stabilize, IV fluids, pressure dressing, pain management. Keep him alive until you can get him to someone who can fix him. The amputee is stable but in shock. The tourniquet is good. You add blood products, warmth, reassurance. You're doing great, man. We're getting you out of here. He nods. He can't speak, but he hears you. You call ahead to the surgical team. 2 urgent incoming. 1 surgical abdomen, probable liver lack. 1 traumatic amputation, right leg below knee, hemodynamically stable. ETA 15 minutes. The helicopter lifts off. You work the whole way, monitoring, adjusting, keeping them alive. Both survive. Both go home to families. A week later, the amputee sends a message through the chaplain. You don't know what to do with that. You were just doing your job, but you save the message. You put it in a folder with the others, the letters, the photos, the proof that what you do matters. Over the years, that folder grows. Letters from mothers thanking you for saving their sons. Photos of weddings where the groom is walking because you got him to surgery in time. Christmas cards from families that are still complete because of you. On the bad days, you open that folder. You remind yourself why. You also have another folder, a mental one. The faces of the ones you couldn't save. You don't talk about that one, but it's always there. This is the hardest section, the one that defines you. The mission seems straightforward, a downed pilot, deep in hostile territory. His beacon is active, he's alive. You're inserted by helicopter, dropped 3 miles from his position because the landing zone is too hot. 3-mile hike through enemy territory, at night. With 100 pounds of gear, by the time you find him, he's been on the ground for 6 hours. He's conscious, talking, even making jokes, but you see the wounds. Shrapnel to the chest. He caught fragments from his own ejection seat. His lung is collapsed, he's breathing but barely. Internal bleeding you can't stop, not with what you have, not out here. He knows. They always know. The ones who've been around death can feel it coming. You do everything. Chest decompression, needle in the chest to release the pressure. IV fluids wide open. Blood products if you had them, but you ran out on the hike. You call for extraction. Urgent surgical. We need to move, now. The helicopter is 20 minutes out. Taking fire. Trying to get to you. You don't have 20 minutes. You both know it. He starts talking about his family. His wife Sarah. His daughter Emma. She's 6. You listen. You keep working. You tell him he's going to be fine. He's going to tell him himself. He knows you're lying. He talks anyway. Tell her I wasn't scared. Tell my daughter I was thinking about her. Tell Sarah it wasn't her fault that we fought before I left. You memorize every word, every detail. His vitals crash. Blood pressure dropping. Heart rate climbing then falling. You work anyway. Chest compressions, drugs, everything you have. He dies in a ravine, 10,000 miles from home, surrounded by rocks and scrub brush and the sound of distant gunfire. The helicopter arrives 3 minutes later. 3 minutes too late. You carry his body to the bird. You ride back in silence. You write the report. Clinical, professional, emotionless. Date, time, patient presentation. Interventions attempted. Time of death. Then you sit in a corner of the base and cry for the first time since you were a child. The truth is this, you can't save everyone. Some wounds are too much, some distance is too far, some situations impossible. You will carry his face forever. You will carry all their faces, the ones you saved and the ones you didn't. But you go back out the next night, the next mission. Because if you don't, more faces join the list. Because that's what it means to be a PJ. The next mission, the next life that needs saving. The next person who's having the worst moment of their existence. You can't bring back the ones you've lost, but you can save the next one. That's the deal you make with yourself. That's how you keep going. One more, save one more, then save another. The weight doesn't get lighter, but you get stronger. You learn to carry it. Some PJs break. The accumulated weight becomes too much. They leave, they transition to other jobs. They try to become normal again. There's no shame in that. Everyone has limits. The pipeline doesn't select for immortality, just for endurance. But you keep going, not because you're stronger than them, just because you're not done yet. Every deployment you wonder if this is the last one. If your body will finally give out, if your mind will finally say enough. Every time, you find a reason to go back. The guy's counting on you. The mission waiting. the next life that needs saving. You don't know when it will end. You don't know what comes after. You just know that today you're a PJ. Today someone might need you. Today you might save a life. And that's enough. For today, that's enough. The setup is impossible. A special operations team is pinned down. Mountains, winter, hostile forces on 3 sides. They've been fighting for 6 hours. Ammunition running low. 2 wounded. 1 critical. The helicopter can't land. Terrain too steep. Enemy fire too heavy. Someone has to go in, on foot, in a blizzard, through enemy territory. You volunteer. You and one other PJ. That's it. Hey-ho insertion. Exit the aircraft at 25,000 feet. Open immediately. Glide for 15 miles in the dark, in a storm navigating by compass and GPS. The landing zone is a snowfield the size of a football field, surrounded by mountains. At night, in a blizzard that reduces visibility to feet. You make it, barely. Your partner lands 100 yards away, you link up. Radio check. Good to go. Now you hike. 6 miles. Vertical terrain. Waist-deep snow, 4 hours of movement. Silent. Freezing. Your feet go numb in the first hour. You don't stop. You hear the firefight before you see it, the crack of rifles, the thump of grenades. The team is in a ravine, using rocks as cover. Muzzle flashes all around them. They're surrounded. You approach from the rear. Careful. Quiet. Friendly contact made by radio. PJ coming in from the north. Don't shoot me. The treatment starts immediately. One operator with a through and through to the shoulder. Painful but stable. You dress it. He'll live. One with a belly wound. Bad. His intestines are visible. He's holding them in with his hands. You work in the snow, under fire, by headlamp. Your partner provides security, returns fire when needed. The abdominal wound is beyond field repair. You do what you can, cover the exposed bowel, IV fluids, antibiotics, pain management, keep him alive. The storm clears just enough. The helicopter makes an approach. Hoist extraction, one at a time. Operator, wounded, wounded. You're last. Standard procedure. PJ goes out last. The bird is taking fire. You're hanging from a cable, spinning in the wind. Bullets snapping past. You make it. The door closes. The helicopter climbs. The crew chief looks at you. You're covered in blood. Not yours. Sweat and snow, and someone else's insides. You good? You nod. You're not good. You're exhausted and frozen and running on adrenaline that's starting to crash. But you're alive. Everyone's alive. That's what matters. The flight back takes an hour. You work the whole way, monitoring the wounded, adjusting fluids, keeping them stable for the surgeons. You land at the field hospital. The trauma team is waiting. They take over. You watch your patients disappear through the doors. Then you sit down on the tarmac, in the snow, and you just breathe. Your partner sits next to you, doesn't say anything, doesn't need to. You stay there for 10 minutes, maybe longer. Then you get up, walk to debrief, and start writing the report. Both wounded survive. The evisceration guy spends 6 months in recovery, multiple surgeries, infections that almost kill him twice. But he walks again. He sends you a photo a year later, him at his daughter's wedding. Standing, dancing. You put the photo in your locker, next to the others. Years of service, dozens of deployments, hundreds of missions. You've saved lives, you've lost lives. You carry both. Your body is destroyed. Your knees are wrecked. Hundreds of parachute landings, thousands of miles of running with heavy gear. Your back is shot, carrying casualties uphill, lifting stretchers, the cumulative weight of years. Your hearing is damaged, helicopter noise, gunfire, explosions. The ringing never fully stops. You're 35, but your body is 50, maybe 60. Your mind carries weight too. Faces. All the faces. The ones you saved, the ones you didn't. You dream about the pilot in the ravine, about his daughter you never met, about the message you delivered to his wife. Therapy helps. Talking helps. The PJ community understands in ways no one else can. But the weight never fully lifts. It just becomes part of you. Your relationships are complicated. Marriage is strained. You're gone constantly. Deployments that last months. Training that takes you away for weeks. Your wife tries to understand. She knew what she was signing up for. At least she thought she did. The reality is harder than either of you expected. When you're home, you're different. Quieter, distant. Thinking about things you can't explain, can't share, shouldn't share. She asks about your day. You can't tell her about the IED blast, the traumatic amputation, the face of a kid who was barely 19 and died holding your hand. You say fine. You change the subject. The distance grows. Some PJ marriages survive, some don't. The divorce rate in special operations is brutal. You try not to become a statistic. Kids know you disappear. They don't know where you go. They just know dad's job is important. Dad helps people. You miss birthdays, school plays, soccer games, the moments that make up a childhood. You're there when you can be. You try to make it count. But you know they're growing up with an absent father and there's nothing you can do about it. Friends outside the community are hard to maintain. They ask about your work. You can't answer. They talk about their problems, office politics, and traffic, and you try to care. You used to care about those things. Now they seem so small, so far away. You can't relate anymore. Your friends become the other PJs. The guys who understand, who've seen what you've seen, who carry what you carry. The question comes up, is it worth it? You think about everyone who went home because of you. The pilot who watched his daughter graduate. The operator who walked at his daughter's wedding. The soldier who called his mom from the hospital. Yeah, it's worth it. Eventually you transition, training, staff, instructor roles. Your body made the decision for you. One too many injuries, one too many surgeries. You watch new candidates struggle through the pool. You remember being that scared, that determined. Some of them have what it takes. You can usually tell by the end of the first week. The PJ community is small. Maybe 500 active duty. You know most of them. By name, by story. When one dies, you all feel it. When one succeeds, you all celebrate. The maroon beret means something everywhere in the world. Anyone who knows, knows. At airports, sometimes another vet will see it. Nod. Maybe say something. Thanks for what you do. They don't know specifically. But they know enough. They know the beret isn't given lightly. They know what it takes to earn it. PJs have been in every conflict since Vietnam. The jungles, the deserts, the mountains. Every war America has fought. Medal of Honor recipients, distinguished flying crosses, silver stars. The walls are covered with recognition of valor. But the real legacy isn't medals. No one becomes a PJ from medals. The real legacy is lives. The thousands of people who went home because a PJ was there. The pilots rescued from behind enemy lines. The soldiers pulled from burning vehicles. The operators stabilized in impossible conditions. Each of them has a family, children, grandchildren maybe. Lives that continue because a PJ showed up at the worst possible moment and did the impossible. You think about that sometimes, the ripple effect. All the people who exist because you saved their father, their brother, their son. It's too big to comprehend, so you don't try. You just focus on the next one. That others may live. It's not about you. It was never about you. It's about the pilot bleeding out in a ravine. The operator with shrapnel in his gut. The soldier who just wants to see his family again. You didn't become a PJ for glory. You became one to save lives. And you did. Over and over. Until your body couldn't anymore. Now you pass it on. The skills, the mindset, the mission. The next generation of PJs will save lives you'll never know about. They'll carry faces you'll never see. But they'll carry the same mission. The same promise. That others may live. You lived that. Every single day. And it was worth it. Every early morning, every impossible swim, every pool session where you thought you might drown, every deployment, every mission, every face you carry, every moment of doubt, every moment of fear, every moment where you wanted to quit but didn't. Worth it. Because somewhere out there right now, someone is alive because of you. A pilot flying missions, a soldier raising kids, an operator who walked his daughter down the aisle. They're living their lives because you chose to do this, because you were willing to suffer so they wouldn't have to. That's the legacy. That others may live, not a slogan, a promise, one you kept, every day, every mission, every time you jumped out of a plane or dove into the ocean or ran toward the sign of gunfire, instead of away from it, you kept that promise, that others may live. They did, because of you, and that's everything.